Hey family, welcome to the Live with Purpose podcast. I'm so excited to have you guys here. I'm your sis, Lisa K. Satchel, and today I have with me two amazing women. They are businesswomen out here doing it, and we just so happen to go to school together, and they're people I call friends. So we have Tyshana and Nicole with us. They're going to introduce themselves a little bit, so go ahead, guys. But I'm excited to have them here.
Hey, I'm Tyshana. I'm a co-founder of En Route Travel, and I also work in Hollywood as an assistant editor. And I'm happy to be on the show, Lisa. Thanks for inviting us.
Hey everyone, my name is Nicole. I'm also a co-founder of En Route Travel. Went to Howard with Lisa and Tyshana. And I am a former teacher and am currently working as an entrepreneur in my business with Tyshana and in another business with my family.
Amazing. I'm so excited to have them here, guys. As you heard, they are the founders of En Route Travel. It's such a good company. And honestly, I'm so happy for this company and thankful for this company. They're helping me plan a retreat to South Lake Tahoe. And honestly, it literally just feels like God's timing and God's alignment that we are even all connected. So I'm so thankful for it. And so, now we're going to get into two truths and a lie before we get into all the stuff about entrepreneurship and En Route and all that good stuff. So, two truths and a lie. Who wants to share it?
I'm going to share these, and I'm going to share them correctly so that you're thoroughly confused.
Okay.
So, two truths and a lie. So, the first thing is Tyshana and I had to pull over on the side of the road and sleep for 10 minutes on our way to a travel conference because we stayed up for 24 hours the night before. There's one.
I fully believe that.
The second one is that I got to talk to Chameleonaire when Tyshana and I were applying for a business grant. And the third one is I thought that when we were in South Africa on our very first trip, I thought that I lost 3 of our participants. But when I found them around the corner, they were on these giant swings they found having the best time of their life.
That sounds adorable.
Okay, so
I am made of follow. If the Chameleonaire thing is true, I made a follow-up questions that need to be answered. So I'm going to say, that's such a random person to say as a lie, though. Okay. I'm going to say the lie is the pulling over for 10 minutes. I think you had to pull over, but you probably had to sleep for longer than 10 minutes.
Okay, no, that one's true.
No.
What's the lie?
We slept for longer than 10 minutes, but we had to get to that conference. The lie is Chameleonaire, so it's a truth and a lie. So Chameleonaire had this thing where he was having like a bunch of entrepreneurs send him videos and stuff. So he sent videos back and forth, but I didn't speak to him directly, and we also didn't get the grant. So anyone trying to sponsor us, feel free.
Also, Chameleonaire, you fumbled the bag, but it's fine.
Yeah, but he did
riding dirty.
Whole thing for entrepreneurs, and I'm sure someone won. It just wasn't us.
That's really cool though that he did that. That's awesome. Well, is there any other fun stories? I want to know about the South Africa trip. That was your first trip. How did that trip go?
It was great. That was a really nice trip. We had 3 participants on that trip. We went to Johannesburg and Cape Town, and it was, 9 days and 8 nights, Nicole?
Yeah, something like that.
The trip went virtually perfect, really. I can't remember much of anything that went wrong. But we had a really good time. It was a nice, introduction to our business, especially because the time that me and Nicole thought of the idea for En Route, we were in South Africa on a trip with Yali from Howard. So it was full circle that was our first trip out of the country with our business.
I love that. So you started talking a little bit about how En Route came to be. But that's really what I want to talk to you guys about as we move into just talking about purpose and all that good stuff. So what inspired you all to start En Route?
So at Howard, me and Nicole, we met freshman year actually, and we ended up going on alternative spring break, which is a service trip for once a week every year when people in college normally go on their spring break vacations. We would go to whatever city we were allowed to with Howard. And we would just contribute to the community and do different service projects with the group that we were sent there with. So me and Nicole went to ASB St. Louis together, and we had a really good time there. We got to travel, see the city, and we continue to do ASB each year. So the following year, we went to Detroit, Michigan, then St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and then Port-au-Prince, Haiti. So me and Nicole traveled together a lot, and we also went to a couple of other trips, including Cuba and Panama. We were like, wow, we both love traveling. And we love that we're able to do this within our HBCU community and have like certain conversations that you really only get at school or like with people from school. So coming up on our junior and senior year, we're like, dang, this is going to end soon and we're going to be in real life where we're not going to be surrounded by these same types of people. That's going to suck. So what can we do to not like end up sad about it later? Because like we're not going to be in college our whole lives. So then that's when we were like, well, if we come up with a travel group that is catered toward the HBCU community, then we can continue to do this and bring people and build that experience and replicate the HBCU environment for people who aren't college students anymore, because it's only like so many years that you can do that. So that's how the idea came.
That's so cool. I really like that because I think so often when we get like into our like, this is what I used to do in college, but I can't do it anymore as an adult. But like, that's just so not true. So I love that you guys were like, we want to keep doing this. How can we keep doing this? That's really dope. So in keeping on doing it, like, did you guys, like when you were in school or even like before that in your life, were you like, I want to be an entrepreneur? Like when did entrepreneurship and like starting a business, when did that become something that was like, I actually really want to do this and something I could see myself doing? Because a lot of people have ideas, but the execution, you know what I'm saying? Like getting to actually do it is really dope. So talk a little bit about that.
I think for me, I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't have the language for it. Like I didn't know that that's what it was. So I kind of always knew, I feel like what I want to do doesn't have a path. Like it's not really like a go to college, do this certain route, like how it is with becoming like a lawyer or a doctor. And so as we kind of were in college and I was like experiencing more, like Tashana said, like when we thought about En route, it just kind of, the concept came first before the business aspect of it. And so after we graduated, we literally graduated like May in 2018. And then right after that, we're like, are we taking this seriously? Are we not? And we didn't know anything. Like I was about business. Like I was in education. Tashana is in film and TV. And we're like, okay, I'm going to learn this about the SBA. You learn this about what an LLC is. Like we're going to learn it, come together and teach each other. And then just go from there. And we did that for like 6 months. So I think for me, I always had that passion and knowing that, yeah, it is something that I wanted to do. It just didn't turn out like where I went to business school or like took entrepreneurship classes. So just us having the passion for it, the business kind of like followed. And then we just had to learn everything to, make it run.
Was it hard to like upkeep that passion? Because I know something for like a lot of people is like, I have this passion, but I also have a whole life and bills that need to get paid and all that good stuff. So like, how did you guys balance the two?
It's difficult. You just have to like remember what your goal is and that the efforts you're making will be worth it in the long run. And actually like, have a plan. Like you don't want to blindly just be like, okay, well, this is going to work someday. That's nice. But like, when you get to like the reality of it, it's like, okay, in 3 years, where do we see ourselves? What do we want to like be at? X, Y, and Z, like all of those goals, you really have to like write down and make an action plan to do them. Like even to this point within Root, me and Nicole, like we have quarterly meetings where we're like, okay, so we want to reach this goal by the end of this year. We want to go on X amount of trips. We want to do X amount of events. What do we have to do to get there? And then we'll do check-ins of like, okay, in these 3 months, what have we accomplished so far? And we have this amount of time left. So how are we going to get it done? Or where are we going to alter to get to that point?
Mm-hmm.
I think you also too, outside of your business, like with your personal life, you have to see like with your circumstances, what is actually possible. And I think Tashana and I even have different experiences like with it this year and last year. Like sometimes Tashana will be fully in film and we'll do en route, and then sometimes she'll be fully en route or she'll split it. And then for me, I was in grad school and teaching, and then I was like, I actually can't do this during the pandemic. I'm going to go fully into en route. and then start flipping homes with my family. So it's like money is obviously an issue to live. But you kind of have to figure out like where you are at this point in your life, or this 6 months or this year, where is your time going, and like what is actually possible. So if you spend 6 months on your business and aren't making any money, that's totally fine. But do you have support, or do you have like an alternative income or some other way, someone's house that you can, or couch that you can crash on to kind of make up for that difference, so you're not on the street.
Right. That's the thing. It's balancing being a responsible adult and having passions. And, you know, I love that you said, like, you know, where is your passion? Because it's like so often we get so caught up in like a lot of millennials nowadays, we have to move home. Like, or live in some place like owned by our families. Because it's like, honestly, rent, who is that? She's expensive. Like all these things that are just like adding up. And I think there's so much pride that we come into, where it's like, I don't want to have to move home. I don't want to have to borrow money. I don't want to have to put this to the side. Like, you know what I mean? To stop some of these goals to do this that I'm actually passionate about. So I think that's so cool that you guys are able to put some things on hold when you needed to, pick them back up when you need to, and just like figure out your own path. I think that's really dope. So what are some of your hopes for like the growth? You're welcome, Tashana. What are some of your hopes for like the growth of the business? Like, where do you hope to see Enroute like grow to and go?
My hopes for Enroute are like, I don't know. I don't want to say vague, but it's just like we created this experience so that we could continue having it. But also, it's an experience that a lot of people never thought that they would be able to have. Like once they find out about our business and actually go on the trips, or even like people who have never been out of the country before. Like watching their faces, their expressions, like how they really adapt once they get to the country and how excited they are. Like, I feel like a lot of people are caught up in like a really mundane lifestyle and just feeling like, okay, I'm from America and like I work a 9 to 5. Like, this is what I do and this is what my life is. But once they actually take that leap to go on a trip and like go out the country and see new things, you can just like see it on their face and then like their personality and like how they look at things afterwards. It's just a really like, you can tell that you made a change on someone's life and that it's something that will carry with them, and hopefully they continue traveling and seeing more. But I think that's something that I want to see, just us being able to like impact more people in that way.
I think for me, I've kind of like, as this podcast and like everything is about purpose, I've kind of been thinking recently, like I was in education, which is a very like just purpose driven field itself. And you're touching a lot of people. And I've been having to adjust my mindset more of like, okay, this isn't necessarily what society feels like is your purpose. And like people kind of want me to go back into education. But like Tashana said, like when we do all this work and like plan a trip and you can see people's eyes and like their like mindsets changing, and people come home and we talk to them 6 months later and they're a whole different person. Like one of our participants is now trying to purchase property in South Africa so that they can live there. Wow. We've had people, like Tashana said, have their first experience like outside of the country. And for me, like when it comes to purpose and just my relationship with God, it doesn't make like societal sense. Like I'm a teacher, I help kids in this way, but I know that right now this is where God has me to touch people's lives. And like, we don't know what everyone's going to do after with it, but even the people that we meet, like when we go to these other countries, like those are just experiences you cannot get anywhere else. Like when we're doing that, my heart is just so happy and it's like connecting furiously to their heart. And I'm like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be right now. And of course, like we have financial goals too, because that's important. But I think that we're both just very like happy in the business and like when we get to do these things. So that's, great for as long as it can be great.
I think me and Nicole can agree that like traveling is something that genuinely makes both of us happy. So it's like just when we're on the trips, and especially since we put so much work into each trip that we make, it's like just a fulfilling moment. It's something that we both love to do. And it's nice to like give what makes you happy to other people too.
Yeah.
No, that's so good, because I think, again, I feel like I don't travel a lot. That's why I'm so fascinated by Enroute, is like traveling is not like something I do, because I think you're right. People get bogged down on like, I literally don't know how. Like, what would one even do? How does one even find the places to stay, or like, how does one not get taken advantage of? All this stuff. So I think what you guys do is so important because it eliminates all of that. It's just like, listen, guys, we got it. We'll come with you. We'll just come with us, you know? And I think that's so beautiful and so cool. And it's amazing to hear, like, literally someone's life changing to the point. It's like, I want to live there. Like, I want to spend more time there. That's so beautiful. That's so cool. Do you guys, so I know on some of the trips, you guys have gotten chances to like give back and like do like charity type of things. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, and shout out to Howard, like that's our foundation in it in the ASB of doing, you know, trips that are like 80 to 100% service for our spring break and seeing again like that joy. And so we really wanted to infuse that in our business. And the pandemic has had some challenges with like physical things that you can do with people when we go places. But like on our gala trip, and that was like a really fun experience that was unexpected, but we ended up working on a gala and HBCU owned farm. And so half of our group was like weeding, like clearing out some of the areas so that they could plant again. And the other half was seeding. So planting, I think they were planting like, let's say butternut squash, who knows? I wasn't doing that. But they were planting, and it was just like really cool to see. One of the best things about it is that the places that we go to are in the African diaspora. So you're with Black people. And I think it's super important in travel. Travel is an industry where we take a lot. Like we're coming here, we're taking resources, we're spending money, but we're also like taking experiences. And so for us to be able to give something, like to watch that and to see the blessing that it is to these two farm owners that now have 14 people, you know, however many hands that is, math. But all of these hands doing something that would have taken them like days or a week that we could just finish in a couple hours. And, you know, it just, I think it's really, really important to Tyshawn and I. And again, it just goes back to our experiences at Howard and just like how we kind of want to show up in the world in travel.
Something I think is really important about the service aspect too is that, like, you know, when you're traveling places and you're doing all of the touristy things and like tasting food and seeing the sights, like you can see the people of the community, but you don't necessarily get to interact with them in an intimate way. And when you're doing service, like that's when you have like those real conversations, and that's when you learn about the little mom and pop shops or like little stories of the town or the city and stuff. So I think that is like a very influential part of the experience as well.
And while we're on this topic, Tyshawn and I are also very intentional about the service being intentional. So there is, you know, a stigma in the travel world that people will come and just kind of do service for Instagram or just, you know, whatever they think like looks good. And we're super intentional about actually having these long conversations months out about what do you actually need. And sometimes it is money. Like sometimes I need art supplies or I need money to fund this thing. And other times it's like I said before, we need just hands. So I think it's really important for us to actually ask communities what they want and need and then show up in that way instead of showing up in a way that looks good for us on our, you know, social media. So that's something that's really important to us too, is just, you know, being in the community in the way that they want us there.
That's good. That authenticity. Love that. So what advice would you give to somebody who wants to travel more?
I don't want to say just do it.
I love that. Be like Nike, just do it.
Yeah. But kind of like Nicole was saying with like intentional service, I would say be intentional about it. Like just how you would treat paying your rent or paying a bill, like make it a monthly expense that is a non-negotiable. And it doesn't have to be something obscene. Like I need to save like $1,000 every month. Like there are prices for everyone who wants to travel. Like there's affordable trips, there's mid-range, there's luxury trips. Like if you can only put away like $100 a month, be intentional about it and do it every month until you reach your goal. And then know where you want to go, because I think the biggest thing with wanting to travel is, like you were saying earlier, Elle, like some people just don't know where to start. Like, I don't know where I want to go. I don't know where I want to stay. I don't know like all of these different variables. So if you're like, okay, I really want to go to South Africa, so I'm going to figure out what cities I want to go to. And then maybe in a month, I'll figure out like lodging and hotels and stuff. And then the following week, like I'll figure out what activities I want to do. I think people look at it as this big, like, oh, this is overwhelming and I don't even know where to begin. Where just like anything else, you should just take it one step at a time. And it's supposed to be fun, so you don't have to stress yourself out with it.
And I think, like Tashana said, the big thing about, it's something that I'm going to do, not that I want to do. So like she said about saving, like we've always been like that. Like even trips when we were at Howard, like we wanted to go to Cuba and Panama. Nobody had that money, but we're like, well, we're going. So it's gonna, and don't go into financial ruin. But I think another thing too also is to use your resources. Like everyone on here, everyone watching, like you're all intelligent people. Like if it's for something else about you want to buy some shoes, you want to, do whatever people do in their lives that I can't think of anymore. But anything that you want to do, you can figure it out. There's the internet and all those things. So it's like for us, when we're planning our trips, like we don't know everything up front. We have to do a lot of research. So if you're a person that is totally fine doing that research and you want to save money and just research in advance, like spend time to do that. And if you're a person that's like, I have no time, I don't care to do this, I just want to go, put your money in, like we have trip planning services or other people are travel agents, like put your money in someone that can do that work for you so that you can just attend. So it's all about, even when you're going places, like Travel Noir is a huge place that just has resources, like what are good restaurants to eat, what are good flights to take, all this type of stuff. So just, plug in a little bit and see how you want to move with it. If you want someone else to plan your things or if you've got the time to figure it out yourself.
I love that. That intentionality, that's really important because I think people are passive about it. Like, oh, I want to travel. Myself included. She's preaching to the choir. But it's like, oh, I want to travel more. But like, what work are you putting behind it? What intentionality? That goes for anything in life, doesn't it? What intentionality are you putting behind it? I love that. So if someone wanted, go ahead, sis.
I was just going to say, that's one of the best things about travel groups is the payment plans, like the fact that you don't have to put all the money down at once. So for us, like we're going to Oaxaca, there's a 6-month payment plan. You just start paying for it and it just automatically, it's not something that you have to think about. And that's a huge thing that you can't get when you're planning stuff yourself sometimes is that they do need you to make deposits or something that you might not have. So plugging in like with us or somewhere else that you feel like you fit with is a great idea because they have other options that you might not be able to do on your own.
That's good. That's good. So what advice would you give to someone starting a business?
Make sure that is something that you're genuinely interested in because there are parts of the business that are great. Like when Nicole and I get to travel or when we get to talk to people who are coming on the trips or like, I don't know, there's like, those are the main parts that are like fulfilling and nice. But then there are also like the meetings where we have to do accounting and math and me personally putting my face on Instagram that I don't like, and you got to do it for the business, but it's just like you have to remember, like, okay, like I said before, this is going toward a greater goal of whatever it is. And I think that's why it's important for you to actually like enjoy what your business is because you have to put so much work into it and sometimes do a lot of stuff that you wouldn't feel like doing.
No, that was really good, Tashana. Nicole, do you have anything to share?
Yeah, I would say when you're starting a business, don't have the expectation that you're going to become a millionaire overnight. I don't think that we went into it like that, but there definitely is now this entrepreneurship culture that I'm going to start my business. 3 months later, I'm going to blow up and then I'm going to have all my rent paid and everything for the rest of my life. And then all the next years of my life are just going to keep growing and growing from that. That does happen to a few people. And for those people, I'm so happy for you and like, please mentor us. But for entrepreneurship is a journey. It's a roller coaster. It's highs, it's lows. Literally this week alone, like we had our best day of sales ever. And then the very next day I was freaking out about something. And it was just, a roller coaster that goes up and down. But I would say be realistic about your expectations. And if you're not seeing financially what you thought you would see up front, like figure out where those gaps are, what you can adjust, get feedback from your customers because maybe there's something that they're seeing that you're missing. And just, be patient. For us, we've been in business like 3.5 years And we're doing great. And then a global pandemic hit. So there's going to be things that you're not prepared for. And in those times, like, it's obviously not super fun, but you definitely grow a lot and you learn things about yourself and you learn how to adapt. So, just have realistic expectations, still be passionate and excited, but don't be discouraged if things don't transform overnight.
No, I love that. And I'll say, before we move into our last segment, I'll say that everything that they've shared and the tips they've shared and all that good stuff is all stuff that I needed to hear, and the stuff that I've heard from them that really helps me grow and really has been contributing to like my personal, just like, wow, like this is feasible. Wow, like stuff like that. For example, like with planning the retreat, the first thing I did, I was like, Tashana, I need help because I don't know how to plan a trip. I was panicking. I tried to do it by myself. It was terrible. Hated it. 0 stars. Wouldn't do it again. And so I was like, Tashana, I need help. And then I was like, nah, actually, I'm just not going to do it. And Nicole called me and was like, God told me you need to do it. So we're going to help. And I absolutely love that. So I just love their hearts. And I love this business. And I'm a ride or die. If I ever plan a conference, a retreat, ever again after this one, all the stuff. These are my girls. Like, we're doing it. We're going. It's happening. So I'm so thankful for them. And I wanted to say that after everybody heard how great you were, so it wasn't like I was sicing it, because you guys are great. And I'm here for all of it. And ride or die till the wheels fall off. You know what I'm saying?
Period.
Purr. Okay. Okay. So now I want to get into our last segment, which is, what's a topic outside of like your work, outside of En route, like for each of you that you're like really passionate about it? Even your work, like your full jobs that pay you more money than En route right now. I don't want to hear about that. I want to know about like, what is your passion that's just like fun and not travel related? Because we heard all those things already. We know y'all love those.
I think for me, and it is fun, but I'm like, God. So
yeah, same.
Everything else, work is a lot of people's lives right now, and like hanging out with friends. But other than stuff like that, I mean, really in a season now of life where after undergrad, going to grad school, now just like graduating from all that and stuff, I really try to have God order like my steps, and not in the super biblical way, just like, God, what are we doing today? What's happening? Like, even to the point of when you're making new friends as you're in a different city, like, is this someone that should be a part of my life right now, or like long term? And so just having a relationship with God and building on that, it is really fun. I think the last 3 months, He's put me in places where I'm meeting new people that are at the same place that I am. And we can have these amazing conversations about Him. And that wasn't somewhere I was a few years ago. So just where I am in my walk, it's like really exciting to be connecting with other people in that. And it really is fun. I mean, I feel like, He's the center of our lives anyway. So it's kind of, everything just goes back to Him.
I love that. Tashana, what's yours?
I would say mine is art. I feel like art has always been a very big part of my life. Even like from when I was little, I would always draw and paint and do like a bunch of arts and crafts. And I feel like that's just like naturally transitioned into even more now, where now I work in film as a assistant editor, and I get to do things that are like very creative there. And then also, as of recently, like the pandemic brought back my drawing and painting that I just kind of dropped after high school. So that's been a really fun and interesting journey for me. And I know you said not to talk about traveling, but I'm doing it. I feel like travel for me is something that I love, but also going somewhere and actually experiencing life is something that is so important to artists. And it's like when I go somewhere, it fuels my creativity even more, to where I get all these ideas and I just see things differently, and it really helps me with whatever my next like fun project is or serious project. So I think that is like, I think art is really one of my main purposes in life, where everything else is like an assist to it.
Mm-hmm. I can attest to all these things in both their lives, because first of all, again, Nicole called me, was like, God told me you need to do this. So I love that your relationship with God and your intentionality. Literally, neither of us have an option. He said, so it's going to happen. I loved that. And I appreciated hearing that. And then honestly, Tyshauna, I love Tyshaunna's art to the point where like I tried to do it myself. It's not her gift. You know, like there are other things I'm good at, but like drawing and art, and well, not art. I'm good at art generally, but I'm more of a paint by numbers. I'm more of a sip and paint kind of gal. This freehand thing that Tyshauna does, it's not for me. I tried. It's not my vibe, but I love watching her do it. So I'm so thankful for you guys coming on here. Do y'all want to plug En Route, plug anything else you guys want to plug? This is your time. Let the people know how to find you, where to follow you, all that good stuff.
You can find us at En Route Travel, ENROOT Travel, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then our website is the same thing, enroutetravel.com, where you can see all of our upcoming trips, galleries from our past trips, upcoming pop-up events we'll be having, and anything else you may need to know, how to contact us, our email address. All those things are available on our website.
And come on our trips. We've got a few spots left for our Gullah Geechee trip in August. We've got spots on our Kenya trip in September, our Oaxaca, Mexico trip in October, and our Ghana trip in November. So travel with us this year, travel with us next year. Also, just to plug my own stuff. I have a candle business called Soul Home Lux, SOLH Home. You'll see it in my bio. And yeah, I mean, I guess just follow me because honestly, back to God, like God told me I got to be posting on Instagram and stuff about like the home design and stuff and the house flips and candles and En Route and all that stuff. So just follow me because I guess I'm about to start doing stuff on it.
How can they follow you? Where are they going to follow you at? What's the thing?
Follow me. My Instagram name is Nikki Sabs, NIKKISAHBZ. Currently, you'll just see me and a few friends and my boyfriend, and later you'll probably see business stuff. Maybe.
Absolutely, because God said, remember what we talked about?
Absolutely, because we're going to be obedient. So
when
it comes out, I'm going to have something out before this.
I love it. And speaking of, trips, I am working with these lovely ladies to put, as I've mentioned, to put together a retreat to South Lake Tahoe in October. Registration closes in August, so make sure you sign up. We're going to have fun getting to know each other, growing together, but more importantly, we're going to have tools for executing purpose and just growing in what God has called us to do. And my mom's going to be one of the speakers, and she's going to be on the podcast the next episode. So you guys can't wait to hear that and give you more insight into the retreat and what it will be like. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for listening. This is the Live with. Oh wait, say it again.
And just everyone to say about Lisa's retreat and just Lisa, like Lisa has this whole amazing brand about purpose, and she's got her book and her podcast and just like it's a true blessing. And to have the type of spirit that she does, not only to want to host a retreat, but to have the sessions in line and to have her mom coming and to just be, the facilitator and leader of purpose, like that is an amazing thing. I'm very proud of you, Lisa, for even doing this because not a lot of people would. And if you guys go on this retreat, like you will be blessed and highly favored. There's some awesome stuff Lisa has, and just book it. Like we just talked about, just do it because this is her inaugural, the first one. And when you're in the ground, there's a lot of stuff that you get from those first seeds that are planted. So,
yes.
See you in October.
And if you're already on this podcast, Lisa's a joy to be around. So why wouldn't you want a full weekend of that? Just go.
Use one of them.
You guys are amazing. I didn't even have to say anything. You guys already promoted it all. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Again, so if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can follow the podcast at Live with Purpose Pod. And then you can also follow me at Lisa K. Satchel. That is where I'll be posting a lot of stuff about the retreat, all the updates, everything you need to do to stay in touch with what's going on. I love you guys for watching. I appreciate you. Thank you, Nicole and Tyshauna, for being here today. And yeah, bye, guys.